The alarms in Admiral Rebecca Hayes' head had never stopped ringing, not since the car crash 6 months ago that left her 3 beautiful 8-year-old triplets, Caleb, Micah, and Grace, paralyzed from the waist down. The woman who once commanded Navy SEAL units with fearless precision now woke up trembling at every sound, terrified she'd miss something her children needed, something that could save them. So when her gut whispered that something was off, when she noticed the kids endured long afternoons alone while she struggled with military duties, Rebecca did what any trained officer would. She set up hidden cameras inside their recovery room. She expected to see silence, sadness, maybe boredom. Instead, what she saw made her heart slam into her ribs. The first footage began with the door creaking open at exactly 3:07 p.m. A tall man stepped in, wearing a faded janitor uniform, pushing a mop and bucket. His head was bowed, as if hoping not to be noticed. Rebecca recognized him faintly. Daniel Cole, a single dad, a widower, a quiet man who worked night shifts and filled in during days for extra pay. No complaints, no chatter, just work. Rebecca leaned closer to the monitor, confused. The kids were awake but unusually quiet. Caleb stared at his hands. Micah blinked at the window. Little Grace held a stuffed lamb over her face. Daniel didn't speak at first. He set the mop aside and stepped toward them slowly, almost nervously. Then he did something no one, not even their therapists, had managed in months. He made Grace laugh. Rebecca's breath caught. She replayed the moment in disbelief. Grace hadn't laughed since the accident. And Daniel, gentle, tired-eyed Daniel, did it by simply kneeling next to her wheelchair and whispering, "If angels had dimples, they'd look exactly like yours." The next clip stunned her even more. Daniel wasn't cleaning. He was teaching the boys how to move their arms again, slowly, carefully, using a set of resistance bands he must have bought with his own money. Every day, Rebecca heard him say softly, "You get stronger. 1 inch today is 1 mile tomorrow. Trust me, I've been there." Been there. Rebecca blinked. What did that mean? But the footage didn't stop surprising her. In clip after clip, day after day, Daniel showed up. He wiped their tears. He adjusted their leg braces. He told them stories about his late wife, Hannah, who had been a therapist and taught him exercises while recovering from cancer. He gave each child a reason to smile again. Rebecca stood up from her desk, pacing, conflicted emotions crashing inside her. Why hadn't he told her? Why was a janitor doing what trained staff and specialists couldn't? But the truth was sharper, heavier. Why had she not been there to see it herself? That night, Rebecca drove home with the weight of guilt pressing against her chest. She walked into the house expecting the triplets to be asleep. But they weren't. They were glowing. "Mom," Caleb shouted. "We did arm lifts today. Mister." Daniel said we're warriors. Micah added proudly. "He braided my hair." Grace giggled, tossing her golden braid. Rebecca knelt, hugging them. Her throat tightened. "Did he come by often?" All three exchanged looks, as if they were sharing a precious secret. "Every day," Grace whispered. "He makes us feel like nothing is wrong with us." Rebecca's eyes burned. She knew what she had to do. The next morning, she found Daniel in the hallway waxing the floors. His shoulders were slumped, as if the weight of the world lived on them. "Daniel," she called. He froze, startled. "Admiral Hayes, ma'am, I'm sorry if I crossed any lines. I know I shouldn't have spent so much time." "Stop," she said gently. He swallowed hard. "I never meant for anyone to know. Your kids reminded me of mine. My daughter, Lily, she froze up after her mother died. Wouldn't speak, wouldn't move. I had no idea how to help her. So when I saw your kids, I couldn't walk away." Rebecca felt her heart twist. "You didn't walk away," she whispered. "You walked toward them, when even I couldn't." Daniel shook his head. "You're serving your country. I'm just mopping floors." Rebecca stared at him, stunned. "Daniel, you gave my children back their hope." She insisted he join them in therapy sessions. She requested his transfer from janitorial staff to therapy support aide, an unheard of promotion, but she fought for it fiercely. Within weeks, the triplets began to show real improvement. Micah could lift himself onto a lower bench with his arms. Caleb began drawing again, pictures of soldiers and angels. Grace took her first supported steps using parallel bars. Every milestone was met with Daniel cheering louder than anyone else. But challenges didn't fade easily. One evening, Rebecca found Caleb crying quietly. "Mom," he said, "what if Dad was alive? Would he think I'm broken now?" Rebecca gathered him close, shaking. "Your father would think you are the bravest boy in the world." Later that night, she called Daniel in tears. "I don't know how to do this," she admitted. "I'm trained for war, not this." Daniel answered softly, "Then let me help you carry some of it." "You don't have to do this alone, Rebecca." For the first time since the accident, she let someone else in. Together, they formed a routine, military precision mixed with raw human warmth. Daniel visited them before school. Rebecca read to them at night. The house filled with laughter again. And slowly, the silent pain between Rebecca and Daniel softened into companionship, then trust, then something neither one dared name. The final turning point came 3 months later during a hospital assessment. A doctor entered with wide eyes and a trembling voice. "Admiral Hayes, I can't explain this. But your children aren't just improving, they're progressing at a level almost never seen in paralysis cases." The kids looked at Daniel. He looked at them. Rebecca looked at God. And for the first time in months, she felt true hope. That evening, Rebecca stepped outside the rehab center and found Daniel sitting alone on a bench, staring at the sunset. "You changed their lives," she said quietly. He shook his head. "They changed mine." Rebecca sat beside him. "Daniel, I saw the footage of everything you did. All of it." He swallowed. "I figured. You didn't just clean the floors. You cleaned the darkness out of my home. Out of my children." He blinked rapidly, overwhelmed. Rebecca reached slowly, placing her hand over his. "You're not just a janitor, Daniel. You're a healer. And if you're willing, I want you to stay in our lives. Not as staff, not as a helper, but as..." She hesitated. Daniel looked up, eyes soft, steady. "As family." Rebecca nodded, tears slipping down her face. "As family." Grace, who had rolled her wheelchair silently behind them, squealed, "Does that mean Daddy Daniel?" Rebecca gasped. Daniel froze. But the boys shouted, "Yes," and lunged forward to hug him. Daniel held them, trembling, tears spilling freely. And that moment, the janitor who had lost everything, and the admiral who thought she had to carry the world alone, became the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter of healing. A chapter of love. A chapter where broken people discovered that sometimes the most extraordinary heroes wear the simplest uniforms. By the end, Rebecca didn't just regain her triplet's strength. She gained a partner, a father for her children, and a reminder that courage isn't always loud. Sometimes, it's quiet, soft-spoken, wearing a name tag, and it changes everything.